Hey guys, welcome back. It's that time of the year again. Call of Duty's next installment is being announced tomorrow, as of the date of recording this video, and suffice to say, I'm just a little bit excited for a Call of Duty game for the first time since Black Ops 1. I also expect Call of Duty World War II to have an insurmountable amount of pre-orders, and for it to have lived up to the level of insane hype that it generated when it was announced, and go even further. Now, for some context, World at War was my favourite game of all time, aside from all of the Halos, of course, and maybe Metal Gear Solid 2, and another Call of Duty set in World War II, dropping the enhanced movement crap of recent titles, has me over the fucking moon excited. However, being me, everything always has to come back to Halo. Everything I think about or talk about, I always end up linking it back to Halo, and I think Halo 6 can, and actually needs, to learn some very important lessons from this year's Call of Duty. Also, this is going to be my last sort of critical video for a while now, but the reason that I've made so many recently is because, quite honestly, I am extremely worried about Halo's future, to be perfectly real with you guys. Halo 4 died faster than I can say Infinity Slayer, and Halo 5 sales and population aren't great. It's not what it used to be, and the thought of seeing the franchise my life has quite literally revolved around since I was 5 years old die is fucking painful, honestly, and I'm doing everything that I think is best to try and pull it out of the situation that it's currently in. It absolutely can be restored to its former glory. If you don't believe that, just look at Counter-Strike in 2012. That shit was almost dead, and now it's pulling like 700k players a day. Its esports scene is arguably the biggest in the world. Halo can get back to that level, just not in the way that it's currently going. So please keep in mind, at the end of the day, this video is just my opinion. My opinion that I happen to believe is correct, but feel free to challenge me in the comments if there's anything that you disagree with. Maybe I'm entirely wrong and you have the explanation as to why. Let me know. I'm not locking myself inside some echo chamber here. I want to hear different opinions and different thoughts if you have them. Right, let's get down to business. It is absolutely essential for Halo 6 to drop the space stuff and be set during World War II, where we play as Master Chief's great-grandfather. I'm sorry, I can't go any longer. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. One of the big innovations in Halo 5 was the enhanced movement mechanics. Now, at the time of Halo 5's development and also release, they seemed like the in thing. 343 seemed to want to develop Halo 5 with the idea that it was going to sort of lay the groundwork for the next generation of Halo, from them completely reworking the engine, to adding this core set of enhanced movements that would be the standard for following Halo games. For the record, the latter is basically confirmed by Frankie on NeoGAF. Now, at the time, this was a fantastic idea all around. The engine was age-old, and these new enhanced movement games, had they taken off, there would have been a chance that Halo would have taken off with them too. Titanfall was set to debut with the mainstream use of sort of similar mechanics, and it was set to be a huge release. However, as we know, Titanfall would sadly not do great in the long run, and Advanced Warfare was going to be Call of Duty's debut of these mechanics, and, well, we all know how that turned out. So the method that 343 used to try and make Halo appeal to the average fan of shooters who play things like Call of Duty was rejected in the communities of the games it was inspired by. The demographic that 343 were trying to appeal to with the abilities and movement mechanics turned around and said to game developers, no, we don't like this. This means that if Halo 6 does continue with enhanced movement, Halo's going to be regarded to as the game that still has those mechanics that were universally disliked, that the industry has since moved away from, and people are just going to look at Halo and laugh and see it as a game that's stuck in the past, which is incredibly ironic when you think that these movement mechanics were put there to have the complete opposite effect. Call of Duty is remedying this in the exact way that Halo needs to. Go back to its roots. You'll rarely hear me say this, but Halo needs to follow the industry shift that was initiated by Battlefield 1 and continued by Call of Duty. Battlefield 1 saw the massive demand for something simpler, so it took the opportunity to jump in, and it went back to its roots with a World War game, and was massively successful because of it. There was potential, and quite a lot of rumours, for another Battlefield 2142, possibly even with enhanced movement instead, but DICE capitalised on this massive shift back, and guess what? It paid off. Albeit a year later, because Infinite Warfare was already in development when all of the hate started, Call of Duty is also capitalising on it, and the hype around World War II is insane, and the trailer or any gameplay hasn't even been released yet, and I'd bet you right now, its sales will be through the fucking roof. Then you have Halo. Sticking with these mechanics, with all of this in mind, will be going against what made it popular. It's going against Combat Evolved's thesis. Halo Combat Evolved broke into new ground with its innovation on console. Halo 5 just stood on the same ground as every other first-person shooter at the time, and didn't exactly stand out as a consequence. And Halo 6 will, if it has these movement mechanics, stand on old, burning ground that everyone looks back on as a period of time that they'd just like to forget. Halo absolutely needs to follow this industry shift and go back to classic Halo, with 343's own touch and atmosphere, which is a staple of Halo, developers sort of putting their own little magic and twang on things, and capitalise on what first made Halo the absolute cultural phenomenon that we now know it as a result. And when I'm talking about capitalising on what made Halo so popular, I'm not just talking about the gameplay. You guys know how often I talk about the art style, but it's for what I believe to be a very valid reason. When 343 took over, a majority of assets underwent significant redesigns. Both physical and sound designs completely changed. Now, although I do see 343's sound design as technically superior, and they are technically superior, the iconic look and sounds of things that people had become so accustomed to in Halo for years, like the militaristic look of the battle rifle, the beautiful roar of the sniper rifle, or the metallic twang of the shotgun, were all changed. Not updated like most of them were across the original games, just fundamentally redesigned. So you have all of these designs from the most popular games just being left behind, in place of ones that share very, very little, if any, resemblance to them, thus making them unrecognisable to the average fan. Not only is this totally insane, it's also likely having somewhat of a negative impact on Halo's popularity. It's no longer familiar to the tens of millions of people who played Halo 3, for example. This is why I firmly believe Halo returning to its old roots, artistically, along with its old gameplay design, is absolutely key to Halo 6's success. For the record, 343 are also returning to the original trilogy's narrative style too. Now, as much as I did love Halo 4's story, and genuinely see it as one of Halo's best, sadly the fanbase disagreed, and now 343 are going to be writing simpler stories in the future, which is totally understandable, and I'm not completely against it. It just saddens me that we're never going to get a story on Halo 4's narrative level again. Right, so to round this video off, I want to just talk about the Halo community and their consensus. Now, in reality, I would hazard a guess that around 85% of Halo's current buyers will still buy Halo, whether it keeps or drops the enhanced movement mechanics or whatever. These people aren't strictly a part of the Halo community, they just buy the game, play it for a bit, and then stop. However, note that I said Halo's current buyers, because Halo 5 sold a lot less than previous titles, which indicates that there's something a lot of people aren't interested in that new Halo is doing. But anyways, back to the community. Halo's community right now, the 15% who won't always buy Halo, something that I'll call the vocal minority, seem mostly dead set on their views. very rarely, if at all, do I hear anybody coming out making constructive pieces in full-blown support for the new art style, or for the full set of Halo 5's enhanced movements. I see it for a few of them, a few select few, but never for the entire set. For example, I'm yet to see a single video or write-up defending the new art style with over 100,000 views, or 10,000 views, or hell, any views or recognition at all. I honestly haven't seen a single video or blog post or anything similar of this kind even exist. If I did miss any, then please direct me towards them, but I genuinely have never seen a single one. The complete polar opposite is the case for the old art style. The majority of this vocal minority seem to be coming out in overwhelming consensus that they want old Halo back, and there's no response from the supposed silent majority that everyone always talks about who supposedly vastly prefer new Halo and think that it's the correct direction for it. For the record, if you do have these beliefs and disagree with me, like I've said, all power to you. Leave a comment with your reasoning and let's debate. It's just, I never really seem to see it. What I'm trying to say is the divisions that would be healed by Halo going back to its roots and taking inspiration from Call of Duty World War II would be insurmountable. All these forum posts and videos that I see just purely criticizing new aspects of Halo, receiving overwhelming support, would be appeased, and you'd have this massive majority within the minority who would be happy with Halo's state again. Maybe this is my bias speaking, I don't know, but at the end of the day, I think it would make the community a lot healthier, but like I said, if you disagree, let's debate about it in the comments. I'm not saying that you don't exist. So, that's what I think Halo needs to learn from Call of Duty World War II. I guess the too long don't watch is return to your roots, return to what made the game so popular, return to what's familiar to the masses, and play into nostalgia that exists for a very valid reason. It's been wildly successful with Battlefield 1, and it very likely will be with Call of Duty 2. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'm going to leave you with an iconic quote from the legendary Satoru Iwata of Nintendo that perfectly defines my reasoning. Thanks again, guys. I really appreciate all the support lately. You guys are the fucking best, like ever, and I'll catch you next time.